Hi everyone, welcome back to my Elden Ring series where I make a build for every weapon in the game. In this episode, I'll be covering the Gargoyle's Blackblade. This weapon is a great sword that requires 18 strength, 10 dexterity, and 22 faith to wield, and scales primarily with strength and faith. It comes fixed with a unique skill called Corpse Wax Cutter, which is an overhead slice that shoots forth a projectile of destined death that deals holy damage and saps enemy health. This weapon is acquired as a drop from defeating the Blackblade Kindred outside the Bestial Sanctum in Dragon Barrow. For this build, I am using a Strength Faith hybrid and two-handing the Gargoyle's Blackblade with the Claw Mark seal in my offhand for incantations. So this weapon is a pretty interesting one. It's clearly a sibling of the regular Gargoyle's Greatsword, similar to how most of the Gargoyle weapons have both a regular and black counterpart. This sword is unique among the Gargoyle's black weapons, however, as it is the only one to actually have a unique skill that incorporates the Destined Death effect that the Gargoyle enemies have when using these weapons. It seems like the developers either forgot or ran out of time to give the other weapons a similar unique skill, as they are all stuck with basic Ashes of War. In any case, I'm glad we at least got a special skill with this one. The Corpse Wax Cutter is fairly strong and continues to drain a certain amount of enemy health over time after connecting. Unfortunately, it is pretty much just a worse version of the Blasphemous Blade skill, which outclasses this one in pretty much every way. Still, it is an option if you are looking for holy damage, and fits well thematically with other sources of destined death. The Greatsword itself also gets pretty good brawl damage, albeit not having the best scaling. Speaking of destined death, as a Strength Faith build, I decided to use the Claw Mark seal as a spell catalyst since it is the only option that benefits from both strength and faith. For my incantation lineup, I have Golden Vow as a buff to use before fights, as well as the Black Blade offensive incantation as another source of health sapping destined death. This of course looks really cool, especially alongside our weapon's skill, and is a good way to start off a fight by immediately knocking off a chunk of our opponent's max HP. In general, the ideal flow of most fights involves starting off with the Golden Vow and an opening attack with Black Blade, followed by close range melee combat with our Greatsword for the rest of the fight. The regular two-hand moveset, including both light and heavy attacks, is very strong and reliable in most cases, and the Corpse Wax Cutter is good for medium range encounters or longer attack windows. For my stats, at level 150, I have 50 Vigor, 22 Mind, 25 Endurance, 54 Strength, 10 Dexterity and Intelligence, 50 Faith, and 10 Arcane. 50 Vigor was all I could afford with this setup, but we have pretty strong armor to make up for it. It is good to have at least a decent bit of mind here, ideally over 20 so that we can use our spells and skill effectively. You may need a blue flask here and there though. 25 endurance gives us just enough equip load to medium roll with my loadout, and I generally found it to be enough stamina for a two-hand attack playstyle. For damage, I split my stats pretty evenly between strength and faith. The Gargoyle's Black Blade scales a little bit better with strength, with faith not too far behind. At 54 strength, two-handing allows us to reach the soft cap, giving us the opportunity to invest the rest of our points in faith. At these stats, we are also set up for good spell damage with the Claw Mark seal, so if you wanted to use more offensive spells, they would perform quite well. Moving on to my armor, I decided to go for a sort of paladin look with a darker twist. I'm using the Helm of Solitude, which is personally one of my favorite headpieces in the game, combined with the Haligtree Knight chest armor and gauntlets, and the Haligtree Greaves. I absolutely love this combo. The metal parts of the Haligtree armor set are the closest in terms of color to the Helm of Solitude among the knight armors, and it makes for a really imposing holy knight look. Our giant wide sword imbued with dark holy damage helps reinforce this theme as well. For my talismans, I first have the Shard of Alexander to boost the damage of Corpse Wax Cutter, then I have the two-handed sword talisman for a damage boost when two-handing, and the two-headed turtle talisman for more stamina regeneration. And finally, I have the Carrion Filigree crest to make our skill cost less FP. Corpse Wax Cutter isn't terribly expensive, so you could get away without this one, but it does help alleviate our tight FP budget. For the Flask of Wonders Physic, I am using the Holy Shrouding Crack tier for more holy damage, and the Opaline Hard tier for more defense. And that is all for this build video on the Gargoyle's Blackblade. Here's an overview of my setup. Thank you for watching, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.